Welcome to this Age of Empires forecasted game, and today spawning in the southwest corner of the map in red. It's guides above and something below, but it's beastyqt, that's who we've got. beastyqt playing as the Chinese, and his opponent in the northeast. We've got luizsantos, 18881, playing in green as the Mongols. We'll call him Santos for short. Welcome to highview with beastyqt in the southwest and Santos in the northeast. Playing two interesting civilizations. I'd say the Mongols are in a really good spot at the moment. I've been casting a lot of games recently, and I think Mongols are in great shape. They've got a lot going for themselves. The Chinese, maybe not so much. I think the Chinese have fallen victim to just everyone else around them getting better. And, well, this is going to be an interesting civilization matchup, I think, because of the fact that Chinese obviously are a relatively, I guess, not so much defensive civilization, but they're more of an economy-based civilization. So, Beastie will want to be getting Song Dynasty, maybe 2 town centers with that as well. Maybe some Chukonu, who knows? We'll have to see. But the Mongols, I think, for me, the reason why the Mongols are so strong at the moment is because of their ability to have a lot of map presence with very strong units. There was once a time that there was no Keshik, and those were a bit more balanced times, I would say. The Keshik offers the Mongols something very, very strong in the feudal age, a lot of mobility, a lot of strength. And, trade has always been strong for the Mongols. Now, trading has had a nerf recently. But I think the Mongols' kind of Keshik double production into the trading side of things is very, very strong. And, of course, they already have the Outpost rush option for them. That's something that beastyqt will have to deal with. And he does scout this out. He sees it happening. And Spearman heading forward already. And something he's going to have to react to. Well, one option is for beastyqt to go to the feudal age by dropping an archery range and trying to fight that off, but often it's a little bit too late. Even with the faster build speed with the Chinese, it's quite difficult for them to go to a straight feudal age to fight this off. Now, he is actually quite heavily on wood. That suggests he's going to be dropping a barracks to, fund for spearmen of his own. That's certainly one way to push this back. He can actually afford it now, so yeah, he's going to be building this, and the good thing for the Chinese is he's got the Imperial Official. He can supervise the barracks production, produce units quickly, but, obviously the Mongols have been able to double produce, so it's got them a little bit cheaper. Overall, and he's going to be getting an outpost up, or at least trying to. I'm not sure if it will actually happen, because the build speed for the outposts have been, they have been slowed down in recent patches. They do not go particularly fast up, and even with the Chinese, that is. So, with a couple of spearmen coming out very quickly, he's supervising it, as you can see. These guys get trained very, very quickly, in a matter of seconds, really. And he's just going to start pushing this back already. Yep. Especially with the scout tanking a little bit, because obviously, Santos would want to take care of the scout, but he leaves himself vulnerable to the damage coming out of the spearman. Has already got a couple of torches, just one torch I think on that outpost. It was deleted by Santos, so he does recover some of the wood, but he lost a little bit there. And this is a nice pushback by Beastie. He doesn't want to get tower rushed, and this is a good way to go about stopping it. Does have the Khan getting the ranged attack in there, but it's just not enough, obviously, with this number of spearmen on the field. 4 versus 5, actually, but they're better HP on these ones for the Chinese. Uses the maneuver arrow. Santos wants to get out of there. He engages in the fight. And still 4 spearmen. Trying to make the most of the Khan. Gets another 2 spearmen into the fight. This is a fight that Beastie will want to back away from. As you can see, he does that expertly. Now, in this matchup, we do have, obviously a really strong civilization. Aggressive civilization in the Mongols. Versus a very much economy-based civilization in the Chinese. But the big difference, I think, is the player. So, Santos is something that he seems like a new entity. We're not sure if it's a Smurf account or it's a completely new player. I believe it's a new player, which is going to be interesting to see on the scene. We'd love to see new players on the scene. And he's facing up, I guess, arguably the very best player in Age of Empires 4 right now, occupying space 1, 2, and 3 on the rank ladder. Although I think at the time of filming this account is actually a 4th on the rank ladder. Anyway, he's right at the top basically. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, he's going to be pushing this outpost rush and the spearmen back quite nicely. On the back of this, though, it's going to be the Silver Tree landmark for the Mongols, and he's going to be getting to that feudal age at a very nice time. The Chinese had to invest a lot in these spearmen, though. Don't forget, had to pay sort of full cost on these, whereas the Mongols was able to double produce using the power of the Uvu. Now, what happens here is obviously the Chinese are going to be looking to be more aggressive and try and pressurize the Uvu. Alright, well, he slowly pushes back away, but I think Beastie's not done yet. He wants to pressurize the Uvu. He wants to take care of this, and don't blame him. If he can get rid of the Uvu, that will put him in a good position. But with the feudal age coming in for the Mongols very soon, I suspect the next production building will be an archery range. The Beastie looking just to constantly keep away luizsantos from his economy. And on the back of this, it might be the case that Beastie tries to go for the Song Dynasty. Maybe a 2 town center play, but he's going to have to keep this army back from the Mongols. He's going to want to try and pressurize even further. And interesting how this has changed the dynamic of the match, because the forcement, like kind of Beastie being forced into a barracks means that the mobility is a little bit less than maybe he would have wanted. If, for instance, if he went for stable units. Another option, though, is for Beastie is to go for Chukanu. He's going to try and torch down this Uvu in the meantime. We do see on the minimap that the Silver Tree is going to the corner, maybe look to set up trade quite nicely and quickly. And so yeah, the dynamic of this opening up with the barracks, whilst the outpost rush wasn't successful, obviously has forced Beastie into a lot of infantry units. It takes an engagement there. I'm not sure that Santos is going to win that. With good micro, Beastie might pull away the weak ones. He's pulling away the 2 weak spearmen, as you can see. And he's getting the maximum value out of this. He does a great micro there, and he has to push those spearmen back now. And the trouble for Santos is he needs to keep hold of this Uvu. With the archer range coming down, Beastie might just back away. The first archer is already out. Here comes the Barbican in the sun, protecting the deer pack and the gold as well. But no signs of going on stone just yet for a second town center. And I wouldn't blame him because the Mongols are looking to be aggressive. Does he have a trader out just yet? No, actually, it's not even on the field yet, deployed. But it'd be a nice trade route for the Mongols for sure. And that's... Oh, Khan goes down. It's a little bit concerned for the Chinese, actually, has to be said. Because whilst the Chinese boom can be very strong, Song Dynasty, 2 town center, the Mongols' trade, it really kicks their economy up the backside. It really gives them a really good boost, enables to produce a lot of army. And when the Mongols' war machine gets going, it really does get going. Especially with the raiding bounty from destroying buildings. It's super strong. Going for the stone now, so it will be certainly a second town center play. But no Song Dynasty just yet. Lacking a bit of gold, but that will be coming in soon. I presume. Where is he getting gold from? Wait a minute. It looks like BC is actually aged up, purely with the tax collection. Which is rather curious. Yeah, it looks like he's just going with the tax collection. Dropped off another bit of gold, and he's going to get the Imperial Academy now. But he's being pressured off the stone, which is not great news for him. Only has spearmen on the field so far. The archer should be able to deal a lot of damage. Oh, Santos is engaging with the spearman. That's not a great idea. No need to. He's outnumbered, outgunned, outpoked. It does look like the outpost will go up now, though. With the archers on the back line, taking out the spearman. Looks like Beastie's going to lose a lot here. Doesn't really have much of an option, though, to be fair, because the archers will range them. Villagers do get the outpost up, which is very pivotal. The villagers do garrison inside the outpost. A lot of spearmen will go down. Archers might be next. The archers need to back away from that position. And it does secure the stone, at least for now. Barbican in the sun, protecting the food economy, which an archer was trying to harass, but didn't quite get there. We do hear the chiming of a trader coming out. Let's just see how much gold will be picked up. 60 per trip. That'll be very, very nice and very, very strong. And what's also very nice is a lot of the economy is here. Look at this. A couple of outposts on this trade route. You can secure the boar, and you can secure the deer pack and a gold vein. And that's actually a really nice spawn for the Mongols. Right, it's going to be an archery range. I suspect with the Imperial Academy now in place, it will be Chukanu. A double archer range, so certainly heading that direction it seems, which is a very strong play. I think it can do pretty well, but the one thing that has to be brought into consideration, this matchup has changed a lot. So Chukanu versus the old Mongols without the Keshik, is very, very strong, but now with the Keshik involved, it can be a bit tricky at times. Alright, with a bit of regrouping, it looks like that second town center has he actually placed the foundation for it? I don't think he's got enough stone. Did he gather enough? I'm not sure he did, and second town center has been delayed. Yeah, certainly looking at the stone that's left on that stone mine, he hasn't been able to collect enough stone for that second town center. It was absolutely huge. Delaying that second town center while Song Dynasty is in play, that really does deny the Chinese booming a little bit. Quite a significant, actually, I would say, because, you know, second town center with Song Dynasty, that village count would be rising heavily. But what the Mongols have been able to do with this positioning, this aggression, the Silver Tree's been producing traders for quite some time now. It's got 6 traders, and with 4 villagers being, you know, killed there, he's done a lot of damage. He's done a lot of damage here, Santos, already. Losing some villagers, or at least getting some idle time with the villagers on deer pack. Being aggressive on 2 fronts. With 22 military versus 8. And this is the power of the Mongols. The Chinese, obviously, with BC trying to establish that economy to start off with the second town center. Is a bit greedy, maybe, potentially. But it's obviously what the Chinese want to do. It's what they do best. A couple of archers again just harassing the villagers on stone, and he does have enough stone for the next town centre. Actually, wait, hang on a minute, does he? It looks like he's gathered enough. I think he maybe got arrow slits. Yeah, okay, so he spent a couple of stone on the arrow slits, which delays that second town centre even further. Is using the imperial official to supervise that, so we'll be able to get that second town centre soon. But in the meantime, his food economy is being idled. Now 6 villages have been taken by the Mongols already. Well, the trade up and running. I mean, look, guys, this is Santos, which I haven't seen all that much of, and he's going up against the world's best, and he is doing a great job so far. Ahead on economy, ahead on military. He's just taking really good fights. He's going to get his town centre in a position where he can kind of get the berries and the wood. And I think it's also to protect the stone and give a bit of map presence. But the tricky situation for Beastie is that it's really quite far forward. It's like a prime target for the Mongols to deal with. He does have some spots maybe a little bit at the back here. There's some deer here. There's some gold here as well. It looks like he's going to secure this by walling off. So fair enough. That town centre is going to be serving another purpose beyond those walls. But this could be an issue. Like if Santos spots this out, this could be a pressure location for him. Speaking of pressure, a couple of Chukanu going in the north section to try and deny that trade, which Beastie is surely aware of by now. And that's going to be significant. I think if he can get a few traders, that could be his way back into the game. There are a couple of villages there as well. That's a concern. How early will Santos spot that? He spots the second town centre now. He's going back with the army. Or is he going to spot the spearmen first? He needs to back away here. Santos, pull your men out. He might lose a few villagers, especially because the Chukanu is getting quite close. Now he's spotted it on the retreat though. He should lose 2 villagers, maybe 3 potentially. Oh, just gets away with it, but he's going to lose 3 there. Another 4th as well, which is unfortunate. Going to lose a trade as well. So great push back there by Beastie. Gets a lot of value. Doing a good job to save the traders though, keeping them back now. And this is a smart play, by the way, to go for the neutral market, because if you went for the silver tree instead, well, firstly there's an outpost there, but had there not been an outpost, the silver tree can be moved and packed up, right? So he could always shorten the trade route temporarily, but in this case, he could only really trade to the neutral market. So this is forcing Santos to deal with this army, which he actually will, to be fair. He will take care of this very easily. He'll clear that up. And moving eastwards, I think a good spot for Santos now is to be aggressive. I think a big mistake could be for him to just try and rely on the trade. But if he is aggressive, pushing the Chinese army back, keeping them at home, putting pressure on the economy, and in the background is trading, this could be a really strong position for him. He's got 13 traders already, is ahead by 1 villager, or 1 worker, and that's because obviously 2 town centers, Song Dynasty now. This is where the Chinese could really come online. There is a window of opportunity for the Mongols to do a lot of damage, but that window will be going relatively soon if he's not careful. And it does look like now the Mongols are going to start pushing in, and I think that's certainly the right move. Wheelbarrow will be coming in soon for the Chinese. Wheelbarrow is already in for Santos, and it does have iron undermesh, which is going to be really important to deal with the Chukanu. No steeled arrow as well for the Chukanu, and that's actually a big difference. The Chukanu really come online when they get the steeled arrow upgrades. Getting a couple of outposts. It looks like this is a staging ground to attack, and I like this play. We've seen this recently in plenty of high-level games. What they do is when they're going to start with a ram rush, they actually get a couple of outposts to secure, and so this allows the rams to actually attack. But if the outposts are within the range, villagers can't come out to try and torch those rams. If they do, the outposts get them, and it's getting arrow slits in them as well. So it's a really good staging ground to attack. We talked about how the second town centre is very exposed, and I think really Santos is picking up on that, and it's going to deal with it pretty nicely. Well, there is a couple of spearmen focusing on these traders. There's something that Santos will want to deal with. He does have arrow slits here, but not quite in range of the outposts. I like what Beastie's doing. I was going to lose them now, though. Beastie, the traders, they pulled them in, and overall, not huge losses there by Santos. Beastie obviously has got his mind elsewhere, macroing behind all of this. Does have a good number of Imperial officials now, all 4 working hard. Mass-producing Chukanu and Spearmen. Now, I think this is a real added dimension to this matchup. Before the Keshik, real just full-out Chukanu could do decently well. Even Horsemen, they were decent, but you have to really have a huge mass of Horsemen to be able to deal with this number of Chukanu. The Chukanu would easily be able to one-shot them and do so much damage. Looking to get the boar on the west side as well. Holy smokes, he's really making use of the map control. And I love this play by Santos. It's very bold, it's very aggressive, and that's sometimes what you need to beat the best. And this is the world's best with Beastie. Gonna get 2 rams to try and take this down and keep the archers there I don't know if Beastie knows about the outpost, actually. Oh, he sees it now. He knows about the outposts, yeah. This is where things get interesting, because with the third round this would be even quicker, but 2 rounds are doing the job already, and again, like, he's able to attack with the Chukanu, but he isn't going to be able to attack with the Spearman, not for long, if he gets dragged into the outpost range. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. He's going to snare one of those Keshiks, and he does go down. The town center will be going down soon now. Now, with 71 economy to 65, the real concern for the Chinese is that he's got one town center with Song Dynasty, but Santos has got a town center and the trading up and running with the Silver Tree. And the army numbers are looking favorable for Santos. Could we see a big upset? And I say upset, we don't really know Santos, whether he's a new player or is a Smurf account, but I think we're going to treat him as a new player. We haven't seen him elsewhere. We haven't been able to figure out if he's a different player. So this could be a player to watch out for. I may have to actually have a good look at this guy and see, because he's clearly playing this incredibly well against the world's finest. A lot of archery ranges. Holy moly, he's going to go... Wait a minute. He's got 6 archery ranges. Beastie wants to go heavy on the Chukanu. Don't blame him. He does need to get a critical mass of these Chukanu, though. Extending the palisade. Wants that map control. Doesn't... He does secure an extra gold and stone with that, actually. It's pretty good. That's pretty good indeed. Now, with the economy actually starting to roll very nicely for Santos, with 20 traders, things become a little bit messy for the Chinese. They've not been able to establish a presence in terms of economy as much as they would want to. And he needs to deal with these outposts, potentially. I mean, to be fair, there's 3 of them in like a really small area. He doesn't necessarily have to. He is getting siege engineering, though. And it looks like now the focus of attack for Santos is going for the Barbican to deny the deer and the food. But another big issue is that this possibly is forcing Beastie to a farming transition. We'll take a look. There's something going on the south of the mini-map. We'll take a look in a second, because there's a big push here coming in. 3 rams on the Barbican of the Sun. The attack maneuver arrow comes out for the Khan, and the archers on the back line with the Keshiks continuously just threatening to dive in. The spearmen threatening to snare them. But it feels like the number of archers there just a little bit better for Santos, and they're going to be doing well against the Chukanu. Steel Arrow is in, though, and an undermesh for both players. So the Chukanu will trade well. Trouble is the archer numbers aren't... the Chukanu, rather, numbers aren't all that great. They've been whittled down quite nicely. Keshiks might dive on the spearmen. What's interesting is how Santos is not focusing on the spearmen with his archers. He's going for the Chukanus instead. I don't know if that's a mistake. I think he's going to be pushed back because of that. A lot of times you see players with the archers focus on the spearmen. You get rid of the spearmen and the Keshiks can dive in. But he's had different plans here, Santos. Now let's take a look. I mean, he's going to snipe out a couple of villages maybe. Oh no, Beastie, pull them away. He's going to lose a couple there for free. Oh, that's rough. He's going to lose about 4 or 5 villages. And his economy is already hurting. Yeah, this is bad. This is really hurting. He's had to transition to farms. And you never really want that this early for Chinese. And it's because obviously the Mongols have had such dominance across the map. Taken boar. Berries here for Beastie though. But he's taken the boar, the Mongols. 2 of them in fact. Or he's getting this one now, I think. Okay, he's going to take this one now. But getting this free food on the map, so strong. Economy looking good. The real issue for Beastie now is that if he wants another town centre, he has to invest a lot more resources. 400 wood and 350 stone. He's already done that once. The number of traders, it's really starting to climb. 27 of them, holy moly. Gonna get the boar. Extra food for the Mongols. 3 rams still kept alive. They gotta go for the berries now. You can see the Mongols are really playing the pocket economy strategy. They're getting all the food on the map that's free. Oh no, Beastie, he's going to run into problems. The Keshik's going to dive in the villagers. The villagers can't garrison. They're body blocked. And even if they do get in, it doesn't matter. The Keshiks will burn this down. 5 dead villagers, I'm afraid, for Beastie. Adds more to the trouble. And slowly but surely, I mean, could Santos actually do this? Everything is pointing in the direction that he might actually win. He's already taken out 1 landmark. Khan does rise to add to the fight. And we could be witnessing something big now. Look, the reason why I'm making a big deal out of this is because beastyqt doesn't lose. And I don't say that lightly. He just doesn't lose games. It's very rare that it happens. And it's very rare that it happens by someone that we don't know. And so that makes things incredibly interesting. We have 1 rising star in the kid Valdemar already. Could luizsantos be another? 3 rams going to go on the Barbican. A lot of Zhugnu numbers though. I'm not sure the Mongols have enough to deal with this. Although as I said that another Keshik group wraps around from the west. This could be enough. He's going to dive in, get a couple of Chukanus, but the spearmen in good numbers. The archers do need to focus on the spearmen this time, I think, from the Mongols. If he does that, if he can split the army into two, these two archer groups, and focus on the spearmen nicely, the Keshiks could do a lot of damage. Keshiks ride in. They do get snared by the spearmen. Have to back off now. The spearmen getting a lot of value, though. The Keshiks starting to outnumber. He's just going to stand and fight. The archers focusing on the spearmen. The Keshiks focusing on them as well. Once the spearmen go down, those Chukunu are going to be at risk. The Barbican of the Sun gets taken down completely. And where does Beastie go from here? The trouble is he can't deal with the rams. He's got nothing to deal with them. He's only got Chukunu, had a couple of spearmen, but the spearmen had to focus on the Keshiks. The Keshiks are like vampires. When they strike and they hit, they get more health back. And the rams could focus on the villagers now and be an issue for Beastie. Getting huge amounts of value. Archers versus Chukunu. The Chukunu should win on paper in equal numbers, but I'm not sure we're dealing with equal numbers here. 23 versus 31. There are a lot more Chukunu on the field. There are a couple of Keshiks, though, helping out the Mongols. Question is, will that be enough? The Keshiks do go down. Only one left. A couple of spearmen dotted in there as well. I think at this point, the Mongols have done a lot of damage. I might need to back off. A little bit of aggression coming in here. Didn't quite see what happened there, but the Keshiks have cleaned up whatever there was. Might need to backtrack with the rams, though. We might lose them to the Chukunu otherwise. He's going to retreat for now, but with 96 economy, 42 military, he's looking strong. Let's take a look at the economy. Most of it is behind these walls. A lot of farming coming out for the Chinese. Now, the farming issue is an issue. Like in the short to medium term, it's a big problem for Beastie. But in the long term, if he can survive and keep the game to long term, then that will be a really nice source of food and it's not such a big problem. But the trouble is, farming transitions, you want to always delay as much as you possibly can. It's expensive wood that you could pump into units. And, Santos in equivalency hasn't had to get that many pastures, I don't think. Just a handful of pastures. The rest has been pumped into military, including the rams as well. Keshik numbers are building up, going to dive in. There aren't enough spearmen here. They've been kept at home. Beastie not bringing them to the fight. He's bringing them now. The spearmen might engage. Keshiks, they need to back off. They do. And the archers now for the Mongols might focus on the spearmen. The spearmen numbers, if they go down, the Keshiks will dive once again. And the Chinese are being pushed right back into their base. He's going to get a second town center now. Oh, that actually hurts when you think about it. He's had to invest a lot of resources into that. He wants to keep up the villager numbers if he can. If he can survive this push, there may be a way back in for Beastie. We've seen him do it time and time again, but the trouble is, can he survive this push? There are two rams on the back of this. I think that's a big, big game changer. Villagers might try and focus on those rams. He needs to get rid of them quickly. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. The villager's going to get the torches out, but the archers might focus on them. Keshik's picking up the Chukunu. Does lose the rams in the end, I think, but a couple of Keshik's going to dive in, snipes the villager. A lot of idle time. It's not only just being behind on economy, it's being behind on the idle time too, and now things are starting to heat it up. These number of archers underneath the town centre. A lot of idle economy. 10 villagers idled. Does have a lot of protected economy behind this, but he's cornered. He is literally cornered in the map, and the Mongols' aggression has done that. And Santos, possibly a rising star. We've got to keep an eye on this guy, because he's taking a good victory here. I think it's going to be a victory. I don't see a way back for Beastie. There might potentially be a way, but the trouble for Beastie now is that his villager production is outside the safety of the walls, and so is his military production. If the Mongols just camp out on the production buildings like he's doing, that is going to be a huge problem. Look at this. He's just, any unit that comes out for Beastie now is under pressure. And instead he's going to have to move the infrastructure back inside the walls. And that's a lot of wood being invested in this. And each time the Mongols are constantly pressurizing, forcing Beastie to spend resources that he doesn't want to. And the Barbican on flames tells you everything. Might be looking to take out this second town centre as well. That would be disaster. 10 villagers garrisoned inside there. 78 military to 22 with 108 population of economy to 79. Traders trading their heart out with 36 of them working with the YAM network speed from those outposts. The spearmen going down. The Keshik's going to pounce on the Chukunu. And this is looking great for Santos. He's picking off the army as they're trying to back into the walls. They're trying to escape through. But they're just being picked off one by one. We're heading into the 25th minute of the game. The Chinese have been pushed back heavily, not been able to boom, not been able to take advantage of the civilization bonuses. Villagers, as they come out of the town centre, they're perishing. Villager production is pretty much to zero here for Beastie. Meanwhile, Santos is almost reaching population cap. He could do this forever. We're staying in a full feudal age affair, 26 minutes almost on the clock. I'm not sure if we will see that 26th minute. I think Beastie might have to tap out. Something that we wouldn't have necessarily envisaged, but it's going to happen, it seems. Does lose that town centre. 10 villagers will be going down there now, and I think with that, we should be seeing the tap out. All that is left is for Santos just to see out the game. A couple of villagers they're trying to escape, but they can't. They're being blocked. The gate didn't open for them in time. Just a handful of Chukunu holding the fort for Beastie. He doesn't lose often. He won't want to lose this one. It looks like that's going to happen. With almost double the economy, and more than double the military, it seems like it's only going to be a matter of time. It's going to burn through the gate, and then there's not much there for Beastie to defend with. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Are we witnessing a rising star? luizsantos. He defeats beastyqt, arguably the very best player in Age of Empires 4 right now. What a fantastic game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, do give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Take care, and see you next time.